flippin' Tuesday. It is the 16th Tuesday, which I have very corporate mobster-like named Judgment Day. Tuesday, Judgment Day. It is the 16th Tuesday of 2023 since whatever bullshit led us to starting to track that. How are you, Bree?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing okay, but I'm getting feedback because I have YouTube open and it is unpleasant.
Well,
Oh, that's
turn
better.
that off. Yeah, there you go.
I was hearing myself yell in my own ear and I wanted to slap myself.
Yeah, that's hard. I do that. Well, I head over there sometimes because I want to make sure my sound's on. If you're not here and I'm by myself, then I'm like, oh crap, I better double check and make sure that I'm in the right place.
Yeah. Are you in the right place?
I think so. I think we're good. My sound is working. You can hear me, right?
How? No. How's things going? Were you in that production meeting with me earlier? Where did I see you also attend that?
Yes, I was in that production meeting. Did
I
you
saw
not?
you from across the table, and I just wondered if you noticed me or not. Like, because it was a big table.
I did.
There's a lot of space between us.
I know.
Like, think about how many miles. If there was a literal table between us when we all met, because Elsie is in North Carolina, and Gordon and I are in SoCal, and you're in Minnesota.
Yeah. Spread
You were
across.
like, that's a lot of. That's like a lot of space. You know?
Yes. Agreed.
Really suck if we never got Zoom. I rip on Zoom, but without Zoom, like the whole pandemic thing would have sucked. That and FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would we have done if we didn't have video chat during that?
I don't know. It would have been really rough. I think a lot of people would have really suffered more than they already did. That human connection. I'm just used to it now too. It's just like an everyday thing now because I'm on this thing, some sort of camera. It seems like from the time I get up in the morning until the time I go to bed, I feel like I'm always on
Last
some
week
sort
and
of
this week.
thing. Yeah, it's been a lot. Started early this morning, but we had new people, and guess who emailed all of them? I did. We're all good. They're in.
Who you emailed?
All of the wonderful people that we've been able to interview.
Oh yeah.
That we wanted to bring in, and I'm excited. We've got more people coming, and more people to meet with and to work with possibly, and so that's exciting. It's a fun time. So I got all that done. That was
Thank
easy
you.
peasy lemon squeezy, as they say.
Thank you.
Yeah, what the pandemic would have been like 40 years ago. How different.
Even 5. I mean, oh yeah, it was 5 years ago. God, it's been damn near 5 years.
No, it hasn't. No way.
It's closer to 5 years than it is 0.
Well, this is true. Like 3.
If you round up, it's closer
by the
to
time
5
we got,
than it is 0.
For how long we've been out of it, we're not even out of it. People, it's still going around. My daughter just had COVID like 2 weeks ago, so it's still ever present. But now we're just tired of it, so we're like, it's whatever.
That's what they say. Like whoever they is,
who's
like
the
doctors
they?
Or whatever,
they.
People that are trained scientists and shit. Those people have totally legitimate concern that if there were to be another truly emergent thing, like you could argue that was like it's hard for me to imagine somebody could sit and look at that situation and just think like, oh, we should have just watched that walk past because that was a total regular thing. So what you do with it after acknowledging that, I feel like is up for interpretation, but I think we can mostly all agree that it had some impact on basically everyone.
Absolutely.
Whether it's work or death or both. And it's like, it's wild. Yeah, so I wonder like what our world would have been like without social media. It's easy for me, especially because I like to rip on social media.
You do?
All those. Yeah, I love to rip on those platforms. But I think that we got through it probably in part because of YouTube, etc. All the streaming services that went from our TVs to our phones, so we could like sit in the bathroom and watch it away from our partners. Like the little stuff that all of us did during the worst of the lockdown. Do you know what I'm saying about that? Like where you just needed to get away.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild. Anywho, like they did all the things that are corporate evil some days also did a lot to help. So it's definitely not without acknowledging like
For sure.
how important those people were, you know?
Pickle sandwich.
I would like a pickle sandwich.
I miss pickles.
You can't
I
have
like
pickles? Oh, there's too
they're
much sodium.
a lot of sodium. I mean, I
They're
can, but
very
I just
sodium.
can't. It's very high sodium. I do love them though. There's like putting a pickle on a sandwich makes my day happier. I
Yeah,
love
I like
pickles
a
on a
pickle.
sandwich. Mm-hmm.
I like a pickle. So, speaking of things that are unrelated to any of this, but are related to the conversation about meeting people, don't forget to check out our friends at Exceptional Entrepreneurs. They meet on Thursdays and Fridays from 11:30 Pacific time to 1. Is that right?
Yes, you are correct.
It's like an hour and a half long. They'll let you in if you show up pretty much any time. It's a very, very awesome forgiving group. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost any money, unlike everything else in the world. Like it doesn't cost really much of anything other than to just show up and contribute in some way. User friendly platform. Like you really can't screw it up over there because they make it so inviting. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that sentiment about EE?
1,000%. I absolutely love being a part of that group. It's so much fun. I don't get in there as often as I should, but I really enjoy it. It's really cool. So, what was I going to say? Sodium-y? Sodium. It's very sodium-y.
We heard
Yes,
you
it
say
is.
it.
I did say it. Yes. Very
It like
sodium-y.
slipped out of your mouth.
It slipped it out of my mouth. My hands are so dry. I'm going to put lotion on. You guys don't mind, do you? It's my own homemade lotion, by the way.
Ew. What do you put in your lotion? Do you put goat pee in it?
Yep.
Goat milk, sorry.
How'd you find? How did you know? No, I don't put any. It's
Hold on.
vegan.
I read your recipe.
It's pretty Gouda, isn't it?
Oh.
Oh,
I give up. You win.
thanks.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink that. I got my tea.
I
And
read.
I
What
got
are you
these.
drinking?
I'm drinking tea. This is a cotton candy
Big goal.
container that I got cotton candy in because I love cotton candy. So my son brought me cotton candy home. And I'm like, well, that's a plastic container. What can I do with it? So I made it into a glass by popping a hole in the lid. And now I have a reusable container that I can not throw in a landfill because I can use it for a very long time as my tea container. It also holds a lot of tea, which is nice. So,
Do you worry
and I've
that
not
it's
had
giving off
coffee.
endorphins to you? Or
Do I
paraffins or
worry?
whatever they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Isn't there some like risky? I'm not saying what you're doing seems wrong. I'm curious if you think about it. Because I've heard that that's a thing too. And it's like this rabbit
if I
hole of
heated it up,
inadequacy.
if it got hot,
Yeah.
I would worry about it because then it would leach into my drink. But I don't think it leaches otherwise because it's a food safe container. So I don't believe it leaches. I really hope not. But it is a very large container. Yes, it does hold a lot, and which is nice because I can put a lot of ice in it. But I don't have any ice in it right now. Yes, it is huge.
Amy
That's what
thinks
she
it's
said.
huge. That's a very nice compliment, Amy. Bree is so grateful for that very appropriate and professional response that I managed to cover up for the children.
Thank you. Yes, well, it's nice, and I like to have a lid on it because I have this thing.
Oh boy, is it huge? She's gonna brag again.
I
Humble brag.
have dogs that are always jumping around, and I'm always finding dog hair on things, and it bothers me. And so I don't want anything going into my drink. So I like that it's covered. And if I take it outside, there's no bugs going to get in it. It's very useful. So thank you. Thank you for asking about my tea container, which you weren't. Yo, it's a huge cup. It is.
Amy's getting in on it.
I know she is. We have some new members that have joined our creator community. We're so excited for them.
There it is
Tiffany
again.
Kane is
New
here.
what?
Creators that have joined our community.
That's not what you said.
What did I say?
New. You said new members. Inappropriate, Bree. Stop it.
Oh, new creators. I'm sorry. Is members a bad? They're members. They joined. They're members now of our creator community,
I guess that's true. It's a
right?
weird word, though.
Members. Get. You know, there's only one thing that I could possibly make this better. Oh, and it won't work because he's at the bottom of the screen. I can't put it up. Yeah. So new people
I'll
that have
put
joined
myself
us.
in timeout. Watch this. Ready? I know
Yeah.
the buttons. Go ahead. Lock me up.
We have new people in our creator community. And we're excited. Tiffany Kane joined us. We're excited to do some collaborations and some things with her. She just brings such an amazing energy, and has been a friend for a very long time, and really helped me get things started on my path to where I am now. So kudos to her. She was on your program, Common Leaders, yesterday, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I can see you waving off screen, which is really funny. Take yourself out of timeout. You can come out now, Trevor. I'll take you out. There you are. And
New game.
new game. Yes, it's a new game.
We got to get a timeout for you so you can play in the timeout chamber too.
The timeout chamber. So excited. Yes, we're excited too.
Much fun. What movie is that from? I love that line.
I have no idea.
You don't know? Do you know that line I'm talking about?
No, it doesn't. It's not a
much fun, and it's like this most sarcastic sounding voice ever, and it's like the along with the clap. Too much fun.
Sorry, I don't know what movie it's from.
I don't either. I'll work on it.
Rubbish.
Compost. Did I do it good? I practiced. No, when you say compost, I studied it because it was so great. And I really thought about how she does that.
How she said it?
Yeah, and it's so airy at the end. So you like have to let the host go. But you just hit the P as hard, but you let the rest of it go really quickly.
Compost.
You see it?
Yeah. It's good.
Doesn't it just like feels different? Compost. Doesn't matter how you say it as long as you do the volume.
And Topaz, so we are not. This is in no way making fun of her. This is actually because we freaking love it so much.
So good.
It's so good. So until I have that deck thing that I can like actually pipe in her words saying it, I have to say it myself. But yeah, she's so phenomenal with her words. Biodegradable was one of my favorites. And legislation. It's the way it's the pitch that she takes things to. I don't know what biodegradable legislation. So good. We love Topaz. Yeah, that's why you should like always consider maybe working with a voiceover person that can do some things for you, because man, do they have some talents and they are so good, because it just takes, and it's something that's so, it's so simple. Like they're just simple words that like relate to a sustainability top. Some of them don't relate, but they're in the same hemisphere. Let's just call it what it is. But that is so good. I had so much fun with it. It is.
Her conversations are so fun too, because she's a different human. Like when she's interviewing too, we need to get her set up on another interview, because
yes,
Lopez has so many things that she can bring to that type of stage that she's a different, like she can show up differently, right? And when I didn't know it until I saw her snap into the interview mode, and you have that too, actually.
I do.
Yeah, Amy does as well. I'm trying to think of somebody I know who podcasts who doesn't a little bit.
Well, maybe you Jesse. Do.
Jesse's, yeah, everybody. I think we all do. Like when it's
We're like,
one-on-one,
hi, yeah,
yeah, you snap
hi,
in
and
and
welcome.
it's different. That's so difficult to do with another person. That's where it's challenging, is to like
Mhm.
be 100% of that weird version of yourself. Because so hear me out. If the show is one-on-one, if it's just you and the listener,
Yeah.
is there a different burden of accountability to the mic than when there's two of you or three of you
Oh
or
yeah, I think
four or five?
there's a lot of it just every single one of those scenarios have a different level of pressure, right? So if it's just you and your audience, and usually you're just sitting here looking at yourself by yourself, um, it's it's a lot of pressure because you're the only one there, and you have to fill the air with your words, and you can't just ramble or mumble, which I do quite frequently.
Me too.
There's a there's a quote that I like, and the quote is, a man talking sense to himself is no madder than a man talking nonsense not to himself. So think about that.
Can you slow it down for us a couple times?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're very
Yeah.
smart. You come from smart people. Slow it down
Not
for
that
me.
smart, no smarter than anyone else.
You're
Uh,
you're very smart. Don't lie.
a man talking sense to himself is no madder, madder, than a man talking nonsense not to himself. It's a quote from a
Huh.
play. So it means,
The
you know
the
how you
the
talk to yourself?
DDER, the DDER, that's what changes it. Thank you for breaking it down that way.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the person who does the person who talks sense to themselves
Mm-hmm.
is equally as mad as is the person who doesn't talk any sense to themselves,
No, to others,
to others.
not to themselves. So to others.
Okay.
So if you're spewing
Basically, like
nonsense
you
to
just as go ahead.
if you're spewing nonsense to a bunch of people, that is no matter, no crazier than talking to yourself. When you're talking sense to yourself, right? Like you can talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. Like, you can do this. You got this. Let's get this done. We're going to put this over here. That'll work out. And like, as I'm working through something, sometimes I talk out loud to myself, hearing the words out loud, and I will talk to myself. And that's, saying that that's no crazier than spewing nonsense not to yourself. It's a quote from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a play by Tom Stoppard, Stoppard. In case you want to look it up, it's one of the few quotes I remember from high school, one a book that I read, the play.
Stoddard.
Stoppard, Stoppe or Ppard. Shut up! You just want me to say that again.
I really hadn't. It didn't. It. What I'll say is, it all came together on its own. Like, I did not do that.
Thanks.
You just.
Anyway, yeah. So I say that
that's what I gathered from that phrase.
Mhm.
Is that we're going mad because
We
we're
are going mad.
podcasting.
Yes, we talk to ourselves. But I think there's a definite like pressure when you're the only one in the room, obviously, and you have to fill the air with conversation of some sort, words, whatever you want them to be. And that's a
Noises.
certain kind of pressure. And then if you have somebody with you, like I have you, I don't feel as much pressure on myself, that I can listen to what you're saying and bounce off of that, and then have my own some things to say, and we kind of go back and forth, and that feels really great. Yes, it's a layup. And so it's a lot of fun that way, but I still think there is some pressure where it is keeping things going in the right direction, trying not to squirrel too much, because we do.
I think it's more pressure to do it with other people than it is by yourself. By
It
yourself, it's
depends on
kind
the
of.
person.
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of cases it can be easier to save. I think it's easier to save yourself from stupidity when you have another person, but
This is
because you
true.
can help, like if
Bring them
you're
back
like
into
when
the conversation.
yeah, you and I feel it's it's sometimes weird for us to do it, but it's helpful for us to do it. You know, like
Yes.
whatever mechanisms we use to just signal each other of like, hey, stupid, whatever you just said, try not to continue doing that. You know, like
Which usually
I think
comes in
that
the form of a message, a text from Trevor that says, let's move into something else.
I try not to.
Which is fine.
I just the truth is like it's just that it's like I want to be in your biggest fan club, so
Yeah.
I don't do that with other people as much, but
You hope.
but but I hope that people will do that for me too. And I
Yeah.
know that you have and Gordon has and Elsie has. I think there's a video and audio delay on my end, which is extremely weird to watch
Really?
because the mouth is moving just after.
Not
It's
for
very
me.
weird. Yeah.
Amy and
Well,
Scoob, is that happening? Hey, Amy and Scoob, by the way. I see
Amy,
Jesse's putting some things in here, and I don't want to get too far behind on where we are on
this was
our
my favorite one.
messages. It's really hard for me to get super serious. LOL.
You don't make a good Siri. Like you definitely should always
Cereal.
bring some of that in, man. Like
Some
you should
cereal.
totally bring that in. That's what happened last night with Venus too. Is like I was trying to push her to bring some more laugh in.
Yeah.
Laugh in. It's like
I
just
wanted to
bring.
get this one. Please join me on May 2nd for my group coaching.
Oh
Yes, if you're
yeah.
in our
How do we get
creator lab,
involved?
you can
You froze.
join. I froze.
You're back now. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My internet must be poopy.
It must be.
Apologies.
Join our creator lab and you can be a part of it. It is all happening in the creator lab. Join us. It's free for 2 weeks and then it's $40 a month. It is not a huge burden. I think it's very value driven. I think you get a lot for that amount of money and you'll be happy that you joined us and hang out with some amazing creators like we have. Also, new episode of Undiscovered Entrepreneur today. Getting that out there. I think Amy drops a new episode today as well. So I'm excited. Yes, thank you for putting that up. You owe him like 5. So keep that rolling.
From today?
No, I think it was like from before, but that's okay.
You know, I don't know why we would call Trevor out like that. So I have Amy saying I got the giggles, and I got Scoob hanging out and just having fun, and then I got you trying to throw me under the bus to tell him that I owe him cursey word drops. If he's not here live to tell me I owe him cursey word drops, Daddy doesn't get no drops.
Did you take out my bus picture? It's missing. Oh no, here it is. I found it. Yep.
Oh
I will throw Trevor under the bus all the time. You just took it off. Why?
Oh, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to have more than once. Oh boy. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. Pretty fun. More Scoob. Pretty fun. Yep. More Scoob. Amy says, Scoob, my husband is back from South Korea, so I have to see if I can make coaching. If I can, you bet I'll be there. Awesome. Well, I imagine that it will also be available post-pro, you know? So, Amy, if you can't make it, one of the joys of recorded video, if you really want to catch up on it, is it will be there because Scoob is awesome like that. More...
Right. More doink. Oh, we have that one too.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, yeah, that's probably somewhere in here. Yeah, Scuba, I actually tried to do a doink episode last week, I think. I don't know if y'all caught it, but I sort of did an impromptu coaching last night with Venus, and that was a little bit of a doink episode in some ways. I've started to expand the doink concept, and I want to get your input, Jesse and Amy and Bree. So because I've been trying to balance sports ball, but I also love the concept of broader competition, I basically just use that to justify any competitive conversation. And I think when you're talking to an artist, it's a competition. It's a competition for who can glow the most.
Oh, we can't share the spotlight?
we can, but if our brand is to jump off the page, then we have to also will it to jump off the page
Right.
a little bit. You know, you don't
Gotcha.
have to go. That's why I asked, the first question I asked her was, how far are you trying to go? Are you trying to
Nice.
be Elton John with that image? You know, and there's nothing against Elton, but Elton is in his element most of the time. And when he's on stage, or at least back in the day, he had the biggest flair, everything's, you know, like the
Yes.
Lady Gaga vibes. So how far on that scale do you want to turn it up, was my question to her.
Nice. That's a
Because
great
I
question.
really wanted her to think about it, because I showed up looking super extra. I set everything up just so
That
it could
picture
contrast,
you
because I knew
took
she
was
was going to show.
really good. Yeah, your setup yesterday. If you haven't watched it, get over there and watch it. Common Leaders
Whoop,
with
whoop.
Venus, and it is on at NumoSpect Media on YouTube. Check it out because I loved your setup so much. I just thought it looked so
Thanks.
good. It was like you moved plants around or something to make it just this spectacular
That's just
area.
the way we roll now. It's
It
always looking
is.
spectacular out there.
Matching personalities with your guests helps conversation. Indeed.
It can be
Indeed.
detrimental too, though, because if both of you are fighting for attention in a competitive way, that doesn't work out well.
Mhm.
So it's just something to keep in mind, is like the moment and I've been that person before, the moment you become combative or defensive in an interview is the moment that it starts to get away. And
Yeah,
it's easy sometimes, because we talk about personal things with people, and everybody has a bad day. You know, like there's all those like little nuances that can play into
for sure.
an interaction not going perfectly.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I think that just being cognizant of your own personality and your own things that you can bring to a conversation, you know, that's what I was going for. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm going to bring her the max version of myself. Like that was me trying to do everything I could do within my own comfortability. Like all of those things were things I wear at different times, places I set up at different times, but I threw it all into one.
All into one.
All into one. And it was really fun for me. I actually really enjoyed that. It was so cool to just sit there and be like, you know.
Yeah.
And I got her my favorite part was something no one will ever see, because right before we went live she realized that I got her,
Oh.
because I had a conversation with her and I got her a little hyped up, like I do sometimes. As I got her hyped up, I got her smiling a little bit, and I said, ready to go live? And she said, yep. And then after she said yep, it dawned on her what I was gonna do. Is it did the countdown? And she's like, "Oh, you son of a..." So I had a lot of fun with that. I was really honored that she let me into that space with her, and she was cool with it and roll with it. Because I figured there won't ever be a friendlier crowd than the one that we can provide within our group. So I thought, like, let's do that there. Let's get her in a really awkward situation and see how she handles it. And
Mhm.
she'll learn a lot from what she wants to set up differently for herself next time, because she
Yep.
is going to own them. It's going to be so fun. You didn't? No, I didn't. I didn't tell her we were going live. I said, I have it set up to go live. Are you okay if I push the button? I want to practice. You know, like I gave her something really quickly when she
Yeah.
was in the middle of laughing. So she just said yes. Like I think I got her that. Like I just did. And well, I don't know if she would look back and say
She
in
was totally cool.
recognition. Yeah, but once I hit the button, of course, I could say, like, just let me know if you want to end it, you know?
Mhm.
Because then you have to also take that action, and sometimes it's easier to stay in motion than it is to stop the motion.
That's right. I agree with
Ask
that.
It's like
Yeah.
the ask for forgiveness kind of thing. If you want me to
Mhm.
turn it off, I will, but like this is what you were asking for. This is what you're paying for. It's like
Yep.
we're gonna give you the best.
That's
So
right.
I had so much fun with it.
Mhm.
So much fun. I
It was
really
good.
enjoy that process. I really, 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 really love that interaction, like that one-on-one stuff. You do that all
Speaking of
day.
Venus, let me just point out that she's already talking about her uh sipping soiree that she's
Oh,
having
is she?
for her launch of her next single, Moscato. So she's invited some of her
Oh, that's what
friends, and
she's
she's
calling it?
a soiree, yes, a singing
Okay, I
soiree,
like it.
which I really like, and that's
Yeah,
exciting. We're
hell
gonna
yeah.
hopefully live stream that for everybody, so you can be part of the launch of our new artist that we have. She's not new to music, but she's new to us, and we are super excited for her launching her new single Moscato. It comes out on the 28th, which also happens to be her
Her
birthday.
birthday.
So
Woo-hoo. Let me get that.
it was really cool. I was really excited. So I saw that come out. I was like, hell yeah. It was very cool.
Yeah, she's really rocking it. I
Hmm.
really enjoy working with Venus because she makes me up my game. Like,
Oh,
well,
100%.
I,
Yeah.
I would say allows us to go full on. Like Gordon and
Hmm.
Elsie, that's something I think people that decide to work with us closely they have in common. Wouldn't you say is like people are willing to take leaps sometimes with us, and like
Yeah.
that's really what's made all the difference is sometimes
Mhm.
when you could just sit and objectify the thing you might say meh, but somebody decides to give you a chance and you're like, oh snap, what are we
Right.
going to do with this thing?
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that feeling though. So
So do
stressful, but
I.
it's so cool. It's, but you like me?
Hmm.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, that's how I always feel pre-pro day. I always feel that on pre-pro day every single week, I swear.
Hmm.
Don't you think?
Oh
That's
yeah.
what it
It
is.
was a lot of fun today too. It's just building and building, and so being able to do so many things and work through today was fun because we kind of took it at a different
Mhm.
approach and pitched ideas and how we what we wanted to do. And this topic this week I think is like a must for anyone
Oh,
that has a podcast or has is a indie creator and is looking for a ton of informations. And we actually have a request from you guys. We want to know, like, what is your struggle? What is your give me the right question to start with. What is a way to
me?
what's the yeah, you. Yeah, this got you right there. You,
All right.
not him.
So while we explain it, what will be helpful, everybody, if you're able, is either screenshot this sucker if you're on your phone for later, or just put your phone on up to it and scan it. I don't think the little indicator is working right now. They're going through some software glitches,
Yeah, I
but it will
noticed
still
that
work.
cuz yeah, it's you still get it. So,
And it
yeah.
takes you to an area where you can leave us a recording. So specifically, if you would leave us a recording that you'd be down to have potentially like quote unquote aired or shared during our simulcast on Friday with Gordon and Elsie, like submit us something that you'd be down to have shared. Tell us who you are and that it's for fuzzy logic. And if you have a question either that's related to this week's topic, which we'll tell you in a sec, um, or just a question in general for either Elsie or Gordon or NumoSpect, like Bree and I as a team. If you have a question about anything we've been doing on Fuzzy Logic, please feel encouraged to pop in and leave us a comment or a question. We know a lot of people have been super engaged with it, and it's so fun. So if you would leave us something there just to read, we'd
Yeah.
be very honored to read that or have it played. Yeah, this week is gonna be. Whew, this week is going to be fun. It's going to be different. Like the
Yeah,
whole
it's
conversation was so it was really today's pre-pro really the meat of it was 30 minutes. It was very short. The amount that
mhm.
we accomplished in 30 minutes was why we are so lucky to get to do what we do.
Yeah.
Like the creative energy that exists with that group of humans is just so fun to be a part of, to create in a space that's got a little pressure on it because of the
Mhm.
topics we take on. It's got enough pressure on it to really hold each other individually accountable each time we bring stuff up. And I love that about our group with you and with Elsie and Gordon is if somebody
Yeah.
has a problem with something, or if somebody truly feels there needs to be something added or changed or modified, it's like we don't hold back on that.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, working title right now is protecting yourself in the creator economy, but we're going to go over, money
Yeah, do you want
and yeah, you want to give
I
a
can pull it
little
right
like
up. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this week it's It is going to be, oh goodness, I got so many documents. Let me pull it up. It's from Fuzzy. If only I was better at listing things and titling things, that would be fantastic.
Or I could put the link in the chat and then you would have it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that because
You're
I have
welcome
one
very
too
much.
many tabs open.
But now that's a big surprise.
Oh yeah, geez, we put this in great formatting. Holy crap! It's like it's already ready.
Indeed.
.com. No association here. Protecting yourself in the creator economy. Dang, that's pretty good. Like that was such a fire. Everybody took. There was a piece of all four of us, and even in the title. Protecting yourself in the creator economy. That's what made that so special. It's that like that synergy thing that can sometimes go down. Goal of this episode. So this is a new piece that I built in. Do you like it there?
Yep, I like the goal of this episode.
Okay, so the goal of this episode, and it could end up being the same every time, but I think stating it is kind of fun. It says, "Don't be silent. Start your own conversations about ethics, how empower ethics and how do I got to say that? I didn't word that right. Help me.
You did not.
Start your own. Oh, that's not proper English at all.
No, I usually come in there and start fixing things, but I haven't gotten to this one yet because I was sending out emails. But it's about empowerment. But basically, what it is hobby to hustle, right? So how do you take podcasting or whatever it is that you're doing and go from a hobby to a hustle, like making money? It's more of a gig. It's like a side gig or a full-time gig or whatever you want to make it. How to know when to do things. When do you want to have an LLC? When do you want to do this? How do you build your right team? How do you do like when is the right time for all of these things, and how do you think about it, and what are some ways we can help get you there? They're going to take questions. They're going to be answering questions live. So bring your questions or get them to us ahead of time. We can do those as well, but you'll be able to ask Gordon. You can pick his brain. He literally said, you can pick my brain. This is an open forum for everyone to like dive in and get the answers they're looking for. So it's going to be on collaborations and teams and business entities and property. Like if you do something as a collab, like who owns things besides, you know, you have your own setup, but like who owns the mutual property things that you have? You have to think about that, because there's a beginning, middle, and ending, and sometimes those endings can screw you. So, and sometimes they're great. So just be prepared for that. How to be prepared, and then we're gonna dive into a little of transparency, things that aren't disclosed. It's going to be an interesting topic there. What's negotiations and how things don't always come out a fair shake for people
and what they look like. Yeah, I mean, I think the cool part is always with them is they take us behind the scenes, because he obviously being Gordon has negotiated those, and she being Elsie has been on the negotiating and like as the creator, I think is as often as not probably on that. And Gordon takes a very pro creator stance. Like I find that when he has a question of advocacy, because there's always a piece of it, right? Of creator versus lawman. I feel like he tends to fall the creator way, and it's so cool.
Right. And then we're going to dive into some metrics and like when you should research and, get by versus when you should hire a pro to do the things for you, because you definitely want a pro. Sometimes it's worth having a pro. We were talking about that earlier. If you want to have somebody doing some voiceovers, it's fun to have get a pro that can do all those fun things. But like when you get serious with if you want to make, it's a business. I think Gordon was saying, realizing that your podcast or what you're making is actually a business. And that makes it more serious and scary, and it doesn't have to be. So they're going to answer your questions and give you tools and things that you can use as you move from hobby to more than that. So I think it'll be a fire episode. It's going to be one of those that you'll be able to when someone asks you a question about it, you're like, oh, no, this is what I listened to. And this is how I found out this information. Go there and they've got all the resources. And if they don't talk about it, they have a link to something that you can get to. So it's going to be one of those, we talked about Tiffany earlier. I was there at the beginning and they were doing their podcasting. And the one podcast that I think I've sent out, like with the link to a specific episode of one of their podcast, Mastering the Podcaster Mindset, is Why Not the Yeti? And it talks about how to pick the right mic. And that's one of the top questions that podcasters ask in all of the groups. It's like, what mic should I buy? And they go into that and they help with that. And so it's like a resource. It's also funny and interesting and a great episode, but it's like a super big resource that I hand out a lot. I think this episode this week is going to be that kind of episode. It's the one that you're going to refer back to, that you're going to share with people. You're going to tell people that, like, if you want to know things, this is the one that like will help you get started and make decisions on when you are ready to take a hobby and make it into a business. So, do you think that?
It'll definitely, I mean, I think that they're going to say that it's not that broad brush. I think, though, to be clear, because every single situation's a little different. That's
sure. But it's going to have the right, go here or learn there or find this or,
I think that, yeah, but I think to be fair, we always strive for that. We always have links and we always share QR codes as we're going throughout it. We have quotes from people. So, I mean, I don't want to overbuild what this week is, because I think that it's
more foundational. I think it's more foundational, though, personally.
Foundational. Okay.
Because we can talk about the ethics and the social things. And I think those are really, really important as you're building up content. Can't think of the word now. What?
Isn't that in the title, though?
It's what in the title? Ethics?
The ethics, yeah.
It's called Protecting Yourself in the Creator Economy.
Right, but you're saying that, like, sometimes the ethics are too complicated or something to talk about?
No. I think that the ethics are a huge portion of all of the things that we do as a creator. But as you're building and you need that foundation, like, we can talk about ethics in podcasting, we can talk about ethics in content creation, but we first have to build what we're going to make, what we're going to put out there, and as we build a business, and take it from maybe just being a guest on a podcast to having our own podcast, or moving, we need some foundational tools. We can worry about how the house appears on the outside to everyone and how we paint it and decorate it. And if we, want to paint our house purple and they tell Prince, no, you can't do that because it goes against our ethics and social code here in this particular point, like, that's great. And those are the things we need to have. But we also need the foundation of our home and the cement and the, all of the footings and all of the things that go into building that, are like, this is that foundational piece that will help you get that building block set together. And then you can start worrying about what color the outside is. And if you're going to plant wildflowers and save the planet, or put crappy grass in your yard, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pass it back to me. I'm not sure where you want me to go, dude.
I know.
I just got to give me. Yeah, you got to give me something warm to do with that, because there's not really a good place for me to go unless you lead me to where you're trying to take me. Okay. So I need you to ask me a question there, because there's not really a good follow-up for me.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to answer your question. Do you think the foundational is important? That's why I think this piece is foundational, because it helps them. Do you not think that? I mean, where are you on that?
On what?
On
ask me a specific question. I just need to know what you want to know.
How do you view this episode this week?
How do I view it? I mean, I just learned about it this morning, so it's still a new concept in my head. I just don't want to blow it out of proportion. It feels like it's our 11th episode. So as the
Mm-hmm.
person that has to moderate it live, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I think it
I
is a
just
lot of
I
pressure.
just don't want to pile it on any more than it already is, respectfully to the, it's like, yeah, I think it's going to be a good episode. I think that every episode we've done is really good though. So I don't think it's going to be better. It's just going to continue to be a piece of the important puzzle. And I absolutely think that ethics are foundational, because I think if you build a foundation without ethics, then it's Swiss cheese and doesn't sustain. So if you're asking me where do ethics belong when you're building an organization, I would absolutely tell you at the front of the line. Because if it's money,
Okay.
then it's always going to be money, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I think it's worthwhile in the long term to not just leave it out because it's tough. And I think that's why I love fuzzy logic, is because we fight through those things that are difficult, and they don't have a right
Mm-hmm.
and wrong answer. They just
True.
have an answer sometimes, and everybody's answer is going to be a little bit different. I think the ethical piece of it leaves a place that there doesn't have to be a right and wrong, because when it's legal, it's either legal or illegal.
Correct.
And when you judge me socially, it's either I'm good enough for you or I'm not.
Right.
It's pretty black and white with those two things. So I think exploring the ethical for our own selves gives us a chance to explore the areas that are difficult, so that when we approach them for the first time as a business person or as a brand or as a podcast, whatever it is, that when we approach those really difficult questions, that we're ready for it, and everything else should be a lot easier if we can answer those values-based questions first.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that the fact that we've spent 11 weeks building up to a slightly lighter episode is absolutely perfect, because now we will go into this slightly lighter episode with such a sense of responsibility. And
This is true.
that's what I always get excited about, is because each week we build a higher standard for ourselves as a group of 4 individuals at least, but I think as an industry, every time we air out our laundry and talk about what we want it to be better with, I think it gives us a better chance of actually getting it. And we know how to make money because they're a dime a dozen. There are a dime a dozen people that will teach you how to make money. How many places are offering a conversation that is beyond the dollars and cents? It is
Yeah.
unfortunately a minority, I think.
Yeah, I think it is
So
too.
I think for our industry that it's I think it's different for the industry to talk about this topic and focus on it. So yeah, we'll
Mm-hmm.
always build ethics into it. It's about, you know, it's about exploring that with people, keeping the conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we talk about it like this because we want to talk about it. And then Elsie is going to talk about it in her podcast ahead of time because she's excited and nervous and weird about it. And
Yeah.
then Gordon's going to talk about it in his Thursday
Oh,
podcast
I know. He's excited for
because
that.
he wants to prep for it. And we all like when we keep it so edgy that it's uncomfortable a little bit,
Hmm.
I feel like it keeps us all so accountable to the
Oh, it
people.
absolutely does.
It's
Yeah.
so unnerving. It's so unnerving. Don't you think? I think what we do in Fuzzy is the most unnerving version of a first show we could try to do together.
Yeah.
So risky.
It's been really risky. It's been really um challenging. That's the word I choose. Challenging. I think it has pushed us farther and faster than we could have thought possible when we first started putting this together. I don't think we expected the where we are at right now, and where we are at right now is absolutely phenomenal, and I love it. I think it's great, but I would never have expected it to be this far, this fast, this much, this kind of a thing. So pleasantly surprised with that. I have grown in so many ways that I didn't know that I could just from this experience. It's been a game changer for me in a lot of ways when it comes to just because I've been held to such a high level, I don't know if I'm actually being held to that level or if I'm holding myself to that level because I just feel a great responsibility with it. But I listen and I learn and I absorb as much as I possibly can from working with them, not just during the show, but in the pre-production, in all of the correspondence we have with each other, all of the things that we do. It is a growing experience, and I am forever grateful for it. It's been crazy and fun and wild, and I am excited to see where it goes from here because it is that big. But I didn't expect it to be this big of a thing, and just topic wise how much we would take on and tackle and do so in such a beautiful way. Were you expecting it to be all that it has turned out to be? Were there surprising things that happened along the way that made you kind of sit back a little bit and go, huh, okay.
Pre-pro is every single week. Pre-pro is that the way that the actual live goes. Sometimes a little bit, but I'm very, very fortunate to have had much more training on public speaking than the average person, and very critical voices in my past that were like Rod Bartel was so influential to me because he was brutal on me when I presented. He got on me for every ounce of not giving to the person. Like it was so focused on giving to the person in front of you that it was really, really outstanding training for what we do now, because I just sit in those meetings and I try to absorb all the energy I'm getting from them, all the energy I'm getting from you, and then how much energy I feel like the industry might have for it. And I try to adjust those things to meet, because I want to align those things. So once we've gone through pre-pro, it's not a surprise to me, if that makes sense, because I have so much faith in the group that is the Fuzzy Logic team. Like it's just no way that it's gonna, be anything except better than it was last week. So,
Right.
Like it doesn't exist when you work with people, with that many people in one place. That's the upside of collabs, is the little competitive nature that everybody brings to it.
For sure.
It keeps it fiery. So I think that once we hear pre-pro, I know it's going to be a big deal. And I think this week is going to be, like you said, it's going to be a fun one. I think we have an opportunity to place this show and place those two in a role of prominence in this discussion, which is always what I felt like we owed them by them working with us. So yeah, I want to get it for them so bad.
I do too. I'm really excited. For all the things, and a lot of things that we have to get going and get doing for that, as we plan out the future and where we want to be and where we want to show up for things. When it comes to Fuzzy Logic, check out Gordon Firemark.
Well, you talked about fundamentals, and this is really what that's what he specializes in, and I want us to make sure that we acknowledge him for that, because that's his game. So good.
And he has so much information there. Some of it's paid for, some of it's free. But every single bit of it is worth taking a look at and taking it into account, because I know before I knew who I think I kind of remember when I first heard his name. It was right when I started podcasting. So it would have been not quite 2 years ago. Or I was going to start podcasting. I was getting ready for things. And one of the things that I heard someone's mention, do we have to have our guests sign a release? And I was like, yeah, we probably should. And so we asked that question at one of these workshop things. And it wasn't the person that was doing the workshop that gave me that information. It was somebody that was attending that said, here's the one that I use. And it was Gordon Firemarks. He's a free release that you can use, and have your guests sign it so that you have the ability to use their what they give you as in an interview on your page or on your podcast or whatever it might be. And I remember it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Gordon Firemark." I'm like, "That's kind of a cool name." Like, because Firemark, it's like, it's kind of one of those names you remember. And I had no idea who he was, and I
Agreed.
was just like, oh, I just grabbed it, and I was like, "This is cool." And I didn't really dive too much into it, but then he kept coming around. He was like circling the planet, right? Like he kept coming around in my vision, kept coming
He's
around. I was like,
everywhere in podcast.
I
He is.
know, for so many things. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I started to, and then I got introduced to him, and I was like, "Oh, Gordon, I remembered started using your stuff. This is awesome." And I got to know him, and he's such a genuine guy. He's such a cool dude. Like, he's a lot of fun.
He
We have a
gives
lot of
everybody his all. Like I really
yeah,
feel like he probably gives every single. That's why I think we probably all get along. That's something all four of us have in common too. Is we
yeah,
bring every ounce of energy we've got to it,
yes,
and he gives that to everybody. And like I know he does just by
hmm,
nature of who talks about him. Just
right,
everybody.
yeah.
He's definitely the cool friend. Like he like Elsie is very very well known as well. But I think because of Gordon like cornering it with his own name like that is probably a distinguishing difference. But from a like obviously in the community space, Elsie is among like Ariel Nissenblatt. Now
Nissenblatt
I've
sounds
I
like
listened
this
to
and
her
that.
episode. I listened to her episode. Did you listen to it? The one
I
she put on
haven't
link?
yet.
Oh,
No,
you got to
you
check
like
it
I
out.
haven't
It's
had a chance.
hilarious.
You showed it to me this morning. I'm
Oh,
like, I have
I
to go
know.
listen, but
I know.
we've been working. So
It's so good. It's so good. I listened to this brand new podcast that she was in because she was in it, and it was funny. Like I got some really solid laughs out of it. It was good, and
good.
she's so good. But along with you, I think that you are going to have a name in that group. So I'm excited for you to hang out with those type of. You like how I just slipped that in?
Yeah, I heard that.
I
Thank you.
think it might be time for a comms wizard group in the near future. Like I have like my thought partners or whatever name I made up, but I feel like for
Mhm.
you it might be some like comms wizard school or wizard group or something, where you and the other powerhouse community leaders in the independent media world, not even just podcasts, but in independent media, because the community builders that are you are different than like the software engineers like that I met last
Mhm.
week from Mighty. Like it's different. So you
Yeah.
should do that immediately.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not launch day, but I think it's a good idea.
Alrighty
Just a
then.
powerhouse. Just a
I like it.
powerhouse.
Since I'm out here pushing myself and doing things that are hard, a lot of the things that I do every day are not easy to do. Sometimes they're hard to do, but I still try to do them. And I know that I could fail miserably and fall on my face and look like an idiot or say the wrong things. But I just keep doing it. I keep trying. When we decided to start this and go live, um, we weren't worried about growing an audience and doing all those things. We were worried about just getting content out there, and we wanted to do a great job just putting out content. And that was our
Mm-hmm.
focus. And we were willing to fail miserably to get that done. And I think that's how I try to no, it's true though. We were ready to,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? We didn't care.
Yeah.
We if we fell on our face, it was
Nothing to
fine.
lose.
And I have nothing to lose. When I do things, the worst thing I'm going to get is like a no or some kind of a rejection in some way. And I'm okay with that. I get that all the time anyway from people I don't ask for stuff from. I get rejected, right? Like for no reason. I just be walking down the street and they look at me and they go, I don't like that bitch. So I'm not going to talk to her. She's got tattoos on her or whatever it is. Trust me. I get the side eye all the time from people, and I forget that I have tattoos and that's why they're doing it. But like I go boldly into things and just let me fail. Like I don't care. Let me fail. Because I'm going to win some of those. I'm going to really do spectacularly at it, and I'm going to be like that's the goal, and I just have to keep doing it. So, um did I knock those glasses right off your face with
You
that?
did. I was trying to give you the
God
side eye.
damn. Well, god
Damn.
damn.
God. Oh my gosh. You said the cardinal goddamn sin. Yeah, that was great. That's why I put the fire up. I love the end of every
Elsie
show
does
we ever
not like the
do.
fire.
No?
FYI.
You don't
No.
think so?
She told me. Oh no.
Oh, it's a fact.
Oh, fact. From this
Well,
morning's meeting, you weren't there yet.
Well, the
She's
truth of the matter is I think it adds a visual element. If we're going to do a little visual and the conversation gets a little heated, it's like, I want to bring the
she's not
fire. I feel
liking
like
it.
it's fun.
She's not liking it. Gonna point
Well,
that out.
she
That's
works
why we had the other background.
works for an audio podcast. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yep. We just hit our 1 hour mark. It is time to say farewell.
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 Thanks everybody
So
for hanging
long.
out.
Farewell.
Amy and
Auf
Scoob.
Wiedersehen.
It was good to see you all. Yeah, don't forget to check out what's going on in Creator Lab, because we have had some new people.
Welcome our new people. I'm going to start putting welcome messages. I think I need to start putting welcome messages out to new people when they join. I think I need to do that now. I really do. I was like,
You gotta have a welcome wagon.
I have to do a welcome wagon. I think it's really time to do that. So help me welcome them when you see those posts. I want to do a nice big welcome post, and yeah, it'll be good.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's
Thanks.
exactly what we should do. No, really, we should
I'm
always.
I'm gonna go make one. And
That's like the team. That's the team thing. That's the thing we want to build. Is what would it be if we were all actually just co-workers in the same space? Is when somebody new comes in, you at least give them the time of day to say like, "Hey, this place is nuts. Let me know if you need a hand." Right?
I like it. Yeah.
And that's what it hopefully will be over at Creator Lab. It's like, yeah, this place is a little nuts. Want to be my friend? All right.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you for dealing with me. Thank you to everybody who hangs out with us and is so supportive of us. And as always, thank you to my moms. I know you have a couple words you need to say before we can hit the buttons. So take us away and wrap us, por favor.
Yeah, thanks for being so active in our chat today, Amy and Scoob. We always appreciate it when you're hanging out with us and spending time with us, and all the people that are out there spending time with us. Thank you. See you tomorrow. I've been following new people when they join. I can't read that fast. I think I messaged Tiffany at 4 a.m. when I saw that she had joined. You messaged me at 4:55 a.m., Miss Amy, so I'll tell you that. All good, though. We appreciate it. And we'd love to have you in there. Please join our Creator Lab if you are needing a team, a family, a home, a community. We would love to see you in there. And until we see you guys tomorrow, Creator Lab is tomorrow morning. We would ask that you be good to yourself, be good to others, and have a wonderful day. And we will see you. Bye.